You're listening to the Life in General podcast with Tom and Jaye. An hour of informative commentary on today's headlines, current events, and what's going on around the world and around the corner. And now, here are your hosts, Tom and Jaye Darden.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Life in General podcast here with Tom and Jaye, coming at you here with episode 46, live and in living color. We're just plowing our way through all these episodes there, making sure we try to stay relevant, try to keep you entertained, and see what's going on out there in the world and around the corner. So we're going to start this episode off the same way we do every time and ask the man of the hour how he is down there in sunny paradise, and kind of get a feel for how his week's going. So, hey, Dad, how are you?
Everything is o-tay panky. So y'all are too young to remember that. So it's 87 degrees and light rain here right now. But yeah, life is good. Sun's down. Yes, sir.
I was going to say, we should, if what we're going to get is the weather there, which is going to be the same every time, you should put a background that you're the weatherman. And, today we had a forecast here of light rain in the morning and, evening time, nice, cool, 80 billion degrees because you're about 2 inches away from the sun and all that.
That's right.
Yeah, we got some interesting topics today to kind of discuss, and something that I'm sure folks have heard kind of around the world at this point in time because celebrities are talking about it, people in politics all over the country are talking about it, and we're going to skip on down to Florida here, close to Ecuador, but no cigar.
That's right.
And
that's right, not far, 4 hours away.
Yeah, not too bad. A hop, skip, and a slight jump. We're going to talk about...
Yeah, you got to jump over Colombia and Cuba, and then to get to Florida.
Cue the E.T. ambling thing where they're flying over the forest and whatnot. So we're going to talk about the Don't Say Gay bill in Florida that's just recently is passing legislation. Something out there... and we discussed a little bit pre-show about kind of what this is. Do you want to explain kind of what's going on there, or at least from your perspective, what the bill is?
When I looked it up, I just read the first sentence.
Okay,
and it is the bill that is passed or is in the process of being passed that the governor has signed is where the school system cannot teach your child from kindergarten to third grade about sexual orientation. Now that's not, I don't know if that's the right way to say it or not, but that's what I read in the first sentence of the bill. I didn't try to get into the, Article 3, Section 4, Paragraph 5. I didn't try to get into all that, but
right.
That they don't have any business talking about that stuff. How old is somebody in the third grade?
Third grade,
8 years
I would
old?
say,
8 or 9.
Roughly between 7 and 9. It depends on if you're a special accelerated child or if you got held back a couple times. So no judgment here. The Life in General podcast does in no way judge any student for whether or not they were accelerated or slowed for any reasons.
But it has to do sometimes with where your birthday falls.
It really does, and that's actually kind of off topic a little bit. We'll digress slightly. Something in one of Malcolm Gladwell's books, I believe it was Outliers, where he talks about that is a very large determining factor for whether or not you're going to accelerate at a sport. Is your birthday and where it falls.
No kidding.
Because you are bigger at certain age groups, depending on the timing in which you are born. And it was actually awesome research, and of course, correlation, causation, blah, blah, blah. It's a great book. Go read Malcolm Gladwell. But it was talking about hockey specifically. And it said that a majority of the All-Stars were born in this quarter of months, like this group of months in time. And speaking to obviously birthdays and where they fall, a lot of the best players were born in months A, B, and C, as opposed to the smallest players, being the youngest at the time, were born in X, Y, and Z. So
Right.
kind of huge, really, when a child is born, based on how their development cycle is going to be, like how their life's going to be to a degree. It's kind of interesting how that kind of plots out. But yeah, to that end, that does definitely determine what grade you're in and kind of almost your maturity level, right? Because now, granted, we are talking about single-digit age children. I mean, they are children 100%.
Right.
And I think that lends credence to your thought of they don't need to be taught this. But something in that bill that's it seems a little nefarious, is that parents can sue if they find out that something like this occurred. And as we've seen time and time again, children are having to be thrust into adulthood or see adult topics earlier and earlier and earlier. And so it's a scenario where a lot of the times it seems that parents have television and the school raise their children to a certain degree. Now, I understand we have some amazing folks out there who are listening and watching that obviously aren't doing that. But you got to understand this. They're spending at least 50% of their weekdays, waking hours, with these people. So it's something where, yes, we don't want any indoctrination to happen, but let's put it from this angle or this perspective. What if a child is confused and they need some assistance, possibly trying to get some answers? And of course, they're about this big and their brain's about this big, and they don't really know what's going on. Are we supposed to punish the teachers in the school for potentially offering aid or guidance in this way? Now, there's a very big difference here, and let me split this off. They're not teaching them anything by curriculum standards, but they're offering assistance when a child's confused. The problem with this bill, like all bills, is the vagueness of it, right? That they have a clear-cut point to a degree, and then, okay, now it goes off into the wild blue yonder, and then it's one of those where they'll leave a judge or a court to decide how to best interpret it. So,
when you were talking about TV and the kids watching TV and stuff, there's a huge difference in how much more risque the TV is here in Ecuador than it is in the United States.
Really? Okay.
Some of the commercials, I'm telling Pat, that they would never show something like that on U.S. TV.
Like,
down to their bra and their panties, or guys in their underwear and stuff like that. It just they just wouldn't. They wouldn't. And the commercial goes into other aspects of them being.
I don't know about that. Like, have you seen American television in the last couple years there?
Well, I'm telling you, this is anyway. I don't want to explain it, but but anyway, okay. it's just a lot more risque than I've ever seen. And I told her, I said, how long do you think it'll be before they start showing people nude on TVs or TV commercials or something, that trying on a bra or trying on underwear or something like that, guys and girls and stuff. Sure. And I mean, it's a lot different down here, television wise, and then the channels you can get down here. Some of those are a little risque too. I mean, we don't get them. We don't get them because I'm not paying for that package of the part of the direct TV or whatever, or satellite or whatever.
I was going to say, so how do you know it's there? Are you in the mall just sitting there eating your Carl's Jr. and looking
No, it's on the directory. When I'm cruising through the directory looking for baseball or something like that, or
isn't all that stuff in Spanish? How do you know what the hell's going on?
A lot of them are, but there's several like TNT, and Universal TV and A&E channels like that are in English.
Oh, okay.
And then baseball, I don't have to have a sound for baseball because they show you everything going on. So I just turn the sound down when I get Venezuelan and Portugal or Venezuelan and Colombia baseball or something. I don't have the major league package, and I haven't tried to get any spring training games. I might have ESPN and not even know it because it's way on down in the directory or whatever. So.
It's too far down for me to look for. So
yeah, I'm scrolling. You know, I'm scrolling, and then there you go.
They see me scrolling. They hating.
Yeah, that's right. You know, they've got enough on their plate, and without confusing children. Mm-hmm. You know, now if somebody's in the school and has a problem or has an accident or something like that, they could talk about that. Sure. But talk about it with more than just one person. Don't have just the teacher and the child there. Talk about it with more than one person, so there's not any confusion on what was said or what was done or things like that. Because you know, you can't trust anybody nowadays. I mean, you just can't. For some reason, you just cannot. Everybody's got their own agenda, and you just can't. So,
but hold on, that makes it sound like people haven't always had their own agenda, and in reality, they have. And I think nowadays we may just be privy to a lot more nefariousness that might be out there than we used to be, right? And like we've beaten down into the ground, information travels at the the speed of sound, and it gets everywhere just lightning fast. And it's something that people have always been that way. I mean, in reality, they have, right? It's just, are they bolder now, or
they didn't put their agenda on Facebook, or they didn't put their thoughts, or they didn't put their stuff out there on social media? You know,
true,
whatever. You know,
well, and
Twitter
it also
or tweet
seems,
or whatever the hell.
Well, and also there's power in numbers, right? So if somebody thinks, even in a negative way, people are going to be emboldened just for the fact that they can go to a website. There's a website for everything, right? And find people who are like-minded, right? And then say, well, what I'm doing isn't too terrible because that person over there is doing it. Oh, wait, these 100 people are doing it, so why not? And it's something that it seems as though there may be some confusion in society in general with tolerance and understanding versus letting people get away with things that they shouldn't.
Well, I can't go to the websites that I'd like to go to, or the FBI would put me on a watch list, or Homeland Security.
Like you're not already there. Yeah. For sure. So, but yeah, it's I don't know. It's kind of interesting, and one of the big things here, I think, is either part of that bill or part of the dialogue around it is about being able to sue the school, because they very much say, like, I believe Ron DeSantis very much is like that it's no place for a child, and by that we mean a single-digit aged person, or entity. They don't have to be human anymore, right? 2022, you never know. So it's something that they're taking an interesting route, because to a degree, I mean, let me ask you this. Did you care very much about what I was learning in school?
No.
Okay. Now,
no, we stayed. I cared about what you were learning. We stayed on top of it. I mean, but you made good grades, so you were learning while you were there. I mean, you wasn't. How much school did you skip and you didn't tell me about it?
Don't worry about that.
Okay.
Mister, we stayed on top of it. Sure.
Yeah. When
I got the report card, and it's like,
yeah. I get the report card, and like, 2 weeks missed worth of days on the report card. I'm like,
well, not in a row.
No, it'd be 14 missed days,
Yeah, well, I had to space them out. Had to, like.
You went to school 12 years and only missed like 6 days.
That's a lie. But anywho.
No, it's not.
Okay. Well, then we'll live in paradise and fantasy land and just continue to think that. But it definitely is. It's something where that also opens up the school to liability. So the vagueness of the bill in this case, not having clear, concise directions or directives, makes it so teachers may become scared about any topic. It might not be something where, now, of course, people may say, well, good, they should be scared. They're leading our youth and they're training up our youth and stuff. But it's something that teaching is already hard as fuck, like all the time already. And kids are pieces of shit. And they have a lot more information than they used to, a lot more access to information than they used to. telephones, people being in classrooms, being disrespectful, being unattentive. I mean, it's something that is just unfathomable. And now, granted, it's not to say that I wasn't myself that same way even years ago, putting my Walkman, wearing my hoodie and having my Walkman earbuds here, just like, yeah, I'm listening to class. Yep. Biology is cool. Okay.
Let me write that down, man.
Oh,
come see
fantastic
come see
stuff.
you.
Yeah. And so it's definitely something where things have changed. I mean, of course, things will always change, right? But it's tough, and it doesn't seem like things are ever being made easier.
Right. You're right.
To that end,
you're right.
We appreciate all of our lovely teachers out there, all of our lovely watchers and listeners who are teachers. We know your job is difficult. We hope that something makes it easier, but it's something that the light at the end of that proverbial tunnel to the promised land seems like it is very far away until we start learning from osmosis, and where we just sleep with our head on the book and or be trained in pods and don't have any sort of interaction that way. But to that end, and we talk about teaching, we talk about children and stuff. That's a decent segue into our next thing. So what I wrote out here was, why are folks possibly opposed to abstinence talks over what seems like a majority of folks think people are going to be people, like they're going to people, right? I mean, and I'll speak more to that in a second. And utilize safe sex practices instead, which, don't get me wrong, that's not a bad thing whatsoever. Any education and any prevention is better than nothing. But
the Life in General podcast promotes
Life in General podcast is in no way does promote safe and accurate sex education for all parties involved, all age groups, now and in perpetuity. But why are we not holding ourselves to higher standards? Now, of course, when I say that and I say higher standards, I'm thinking to myself, okay, I viewed that from an angle of, having more self-control and more sovereignty over myself is the way to go. However, I also am, people who know me, I'm a bit of a hedonist. So it's a scenario where I'm thinking, well, now you're just on that side for being a provocateur more so than because I think it's accurate or correct to do that sort of thing. But something that I found in research while I was looking at this is one of the reasons people are so opposed to abstinence specifically is because a lot of the times when you go that way, and of course, abstinence for people who don't know is not having sexual intercourse at all, right? Stop, don't do it. That's the thing. So to that end, one of the things that they talked about was if they are, or if whatever group is going to teach abstinence, it's abstinence only. So they leave children, because it is children who's having sex. I mean, come on. If you're 12, 13, 14, even 15 years old, you're an infant, pretty much. I mean, come on. You don't know what's going on. Other than you have these weird impulses and you look at Susie or Tom, Tom or Jay or whatever, whomever, and it's like, something's got me fired up, right? To each their own. But one of the reasons is they say abstinence only. They leave a lot of stuff out. I mean, they leave out a lot of safe sex practices and say, well, look, like teenagers are going to be little horny teenagers and they're going to, go like at each other like bunnies. Like that's just kind of how it's going to be. And so that point I got, and I totally understand. And I think it's better to have more education than none, right? Because I mean, you would not want to leave people ignorant. And also if you teach more options than that, it actually lowers the birth rate, lowers the abortion rate, lowers actually a lot of things that people would want to generally have lowered. But it's kind of wild the angle at which it comes from, right? Because the folks who would want less abortions, less pregnancies that are unforeseen would kind of be in the same category that would want to teach abstinence only or abstinence prominent versus safe sex. Give them, 100% of all the information, and it would technically lower everything as a general outcome of that, but they just don't want to do it. So what are your thoughts there on abstinence, safe sex, no sex, all that, like, because it's wild, and it goes kind of back into teaching at teachers, right? Because they can learn that from church, they can learn that from school, they can learn that from parents, other parents, kids, like all sorts of stuff.
Like you said, kids are going to be kids. People are going to be people.
Right.
And it's not much you can do about it. I mean, they're going to find a way to do what they want to do. I mean, That's just the way it is, in the bathroom at school or the back seat of the car or whatever they want to do, you just hope they make the right decision. I can't understand, and this is a personal thing of mine, okay? This is a personal thing. I can't understand why anyone in this day and age would want to raise a child or have a child, not raise a child, but have a child at this point in time, as chaotic as the whole world stage is. And maybe you can keep little Cindy, Mindy, Wendy, Lindy, maybe you can keep them covered or coveted in your yard or your house, and you can homeschool them, and you don't have to put them out in the world. Maybe you can do that. I don't know, but social interaction is a huge deal, and they've missed that the last 2 years, and now they're trying to open it back up again, and that's a whole nother topic. But they're going to do what they're going to do, and there's not, even back when I was growing up, we found a way to do what we wanted to do and with who we wanted to do it with. So I don't know. I don't know who's trying to teach it, but good luck to them when they do. God bless them.
Well, and it's something too. The options nowadays are incredible for safe sex practices and all of that. Now, of course, gentlemen and ladies out there, glove up. But I have several people that I know where they have, it's not an IED, that's not it. But it's something that, they can insert into you or put into your arm or, and it's amazing because it acts as birth control, and it works with minimal side effects from what I hear. And it's fantastic because it's almost as though they got a vasectomy like the guy did, right? And because it's almost as though they're shooting blanks, and the lady's regulated and it's all great. I mean, what I mean by that is their times and stuff like that. I mean, it's much, much better, presumably, from what I hear. And you would think, okay, make life better and easier by giving out more information than humanly possible. Because just like you said, I mean, people are going to find life finds a way, right? Jeff Goldblum out there.
Yeah.
And it's something where why wouldn't we want to reduce risk in the best way possible statistically versus going about it, I don't want to say from a path of ignorance, because to each their own, and you can teach whatever you would like to whomever you would like. Presumably they want the information, but it's. I thought it was interesting from a standpoint of, okay, look at the person, like in general. We can't necessarily, I guess, hold ourselves to a higher standard, but we potentially should be. Now, that does go back to you and myself. I mean, speaking of the good old days or whatever, it was something where there was no higher standard there. So definitely can't hold anybody accountable. But of course, as we get older and as we keep looking at things in that way, it's just very peculiar that, like, looking, well, I mean, to a degree, looking back, it's always, hindsight's 20/20, right?
Sure.
And I know people who have done the abstinence thing and it worked out perfectly for them. And these are more, I would say, religious people, and that's fantastic. Like, if that's the way you can go and want to go and achieve that, more power to you. But without having that sort of backing, or potentially having that sort of upbringing, and then it become a thing where it's like, yeah, jog on. That's not how people function. It's just something that's kind of been interesting to think about, especially in today's age when we discuss people becoming adults faster, right? Like children having to be thrust into adulthood or thrust into these sorts of topics and conversations and all that, when in reality it's like we just want to let kids be kids for as long as they can be before they have to go through that sort of thing or have to put up with that, because something that isn't necessarily espoused to a great degree from my recollection is that once you're there, you don't go backwards. Like, it's only going forwards. And it was something where looking at like, oh man, I want to be an adult and stay up and do this and that. And it's like, no, you don't. You really don't. Because then you have so many other factors that play into existence that, it just seems like they're being like thrust down upon our younger generation. But to the end of you talking about who would want to like raise a family up right now, well, folks who have the heart to do it. You know, folks who have the mind and the spirit to do it.
That's why I said it was a personal thing with me. I just don't understand. I mean, it's just with everything that we've said so far and everything going on in the world, you're going to bring a child up into this world where you got to keep a constant eye on them and stuff like that. They can't be raised. You can't just drop off the school and let the school be a 12-year babysitter for you. You can't do that anymore because there's too much stuff going on.
You should have never done that in the first place. It's not as though you can't do it anymore. It should never happen at all.
Well, no, it shouldn't. But, you know, there you go.
Want to talk about me? No, I'm just kidding. So, hopping off of the bus, proverbially, something that you talk about Ecuador and whatnot, and they're big soccer fans or football fans, right? Soccer out there for everybody who likes soccer. Like and comment below if you like soccer or if you hate it. Like and comment down below. Talk about soccer a little bit. And who's your favorite team? Are you a Nashville soccer league fan? I have no idea what their name is, and I should. I'm like, I'm blanking on that because I've never been to one of their games. And soccer's not the sport for me. If you've ever seen me in person, you would know exactly why. So,
have they finished the stadium that they were building for that? They were building a new soccer stadium over there off by the fairgrounds, not too far, I think.
I don't know.
When they finally came to and realized how gigantic of a worldwide sport it was, and said, incredible. "Hey, we need to get in on this. We need to get in on this."
I don't think they have. They might have, but it's something where I don't think they have. But we can certainly find out real quick.
Yeah, it's huge down here, man. When they play soccer, they've got like a 10-foot by 10-foot screen that's up in the ceiling almost in the food court. And anytime Ecuador plays soccer, the food court, the people that can't afford TVs, you know, and the people that are just in there eating and stuff, that place is a madhouse. There's just standing room only in there. So you can forget about going and eating and getting anything, sitting down anywhere. Because, I mean, it's just, there's people up there and they're just glued to the TV and stuff.
So the Nashville SC Stadium is set to be open on May 2022. So that's what I'm finding online. Tell us down below in the comments if we're wrong, because I know we got some soccer fans out there who are watching. So smash the bell, tickle the bell, tickle the like, mess with it, do it to it. Yeah, bam, bam, and do it to it. Yeah, tell us if you like soccer or not, or if you hate it. It's all good. Tell us that too. But speaking of soccer fans, our Reddit hour for today. So with Reddit, there was something, or Imager Reddit, our little internet post of seeing random things, was friggin' crazy. This guy is kicking a penalty kick for Egypt. And several of you may have seen this. I'll try to add the video or the little clip if I can in post, where they have green laser lights. And there's like 15 of these things shining it right in this dude's face. They don't stop the game. They don't throw up any penalties. They don't do anything. And people were losing their minds. I mean, people were outraged that it wasn't a scenario that's like, okay, nobody wins and everyone goes home. They just let this shit happen. Like green lasers right in this dude's face, just going back and forth and back and forth. And they just said, cool, just roll on with the game. It's all good. Absolutely outrageous. Because
it seems to be an ongoing issue.
I have
because
no doubt.
I was reading up on it, and they're searching everybody at the game, but they're smuggling, these ink pen style lasers in there.
Sure.
And they should have just disqualified the team that, wherever they were sitting, if it was, on the side of Egypt or on the side of whoever they were playing, they should have just said, okay, apparently those are your fans. His fans wouldn't do that to him and make him miss the kick, which he missed the kick. His fans wouldn't do that, so it's your fans. Okay, so you're disqualified.
Right.
That they, like you said, they didn't do anything.
Yeah,
they didn't do anything at all.
Yeah, it was nuts. Like they're like, okay, who cares? Keep going.
But they talk about the penalties. They talk about the fines and the penalties and the suspensions and all that kind of stuff that go along with bringing electronic devices to a soccer game.
Oh yeah.
But then they didn't do anything to anybody.
I don't know, man. They've
gaslighting, baby, gaslighting.
I guess
Gaslighting, not telling the truth when you know they're lying. You know they're lying and they're not telling the truth.
Maybe they are.
Don't be the.
Maybe that's exactly what's going on, or maybe the officials are corrupt. I mean, that's something where you would assume in a world as large as soccer is that there'd be corruption from the tippy top down to the very bottom. And because, I mean, it's a worldwide thing. I mean, people like don't want to go back to their home country if they lose in certain events, man. Like it's out of control.
I know they're afraid of being killed if they lose, like at the Olympics, or if they lose at a soccer game or something. That's pretty sad.
Like that's like a wild road to hoe there a little bit. You know
yes,
what I mean?
It is. That's pressure. That's pressure right there.
Yeah.
Pressure.
Under pressure. Dun.
Yeah. And I think they were in the overtime or something, weren't they? And those were penalty kicks from overtime or something. I don't know how all that works. I don't know that much about soccer.
We definitely aren't soccer people, but
I'm in admiration though of guys that can run up and down the damn field, not like football where you get to go sit down every 3 downs.
Yeah.
On the bench. These guys now, they ain't no sitting down. They're running up and down the field the whole time, man. And I'm like, that's something. And they're kicking at each other and flailing at each other and all that. Yeah. It's like, yeah, that's something that needs to be admired. That's admiration.
Sure.
Yeah,
it's admirable.
Sure.
It really is. I mean, to have that sort of coordination and stamina and just like spirit to do that, man. I never played soccer, and it shows. Definitely something that, I mean, it's a pretty interesting sport and whatnot, but yeah, not gonna have homeboy up there running for 90 minutes and then wonder, who's winning, how much time's left, what's the over under, it's half a point, and all this silliness. So
there's a guy that drives a gypsy cab down here, which means he doesn't work for a company, he works for himself.
There you go.
And he's 63 years old, and he plays soccer every Saturday on the beach.
Jeez.
I don't know if it's in a league or a bunch of guys, but he's in great shape. For
I have no
63.
Doubt.
I mean,
if he's out there playing soccer every week, then he'd probably be in pretty good shape.
For sitting in a car all day every day, for 10 or 12 hours trying to make a living, driving this cab around, and then gets out and runs around every Saturday. I don't know if he plays any other time or not, but he's pretty adamant about his Saturday mornings. Don't call me.
Hey, nothing wrong with that.
I won't be here. Okay.
Yeah. Sorry. Not gonna happen.
Yeah.
Well, I just thought that was pretty out of this world, and definitely out of this country, but something that was interesting, peculiar, and just a little crazy, because people, get into that and they go hard. I mean, there have been riots, there have been stadiums going nuts, like all sorts of just craziness around that sport. But
so have you seen? This is completely a different subject. Have you seen where Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas's wife, they've got into some of her text messages to congressional people that are in office?
Yeah.
You see that?
I've seen that. Supposedly she was talking to Trump or Trump's people,
and they told him that he needed to recuse himself or resign or be impeached or something. Are you kidding me?
I saw
that's not a guy.
That Alexander.
That's not the guy you want to touch, man. He's the only African American on the court. He's the only one. So he's not. That's the first thing. Is you don't want to do this.
I was going to say, not if they get their new person elected, right? Or a new person put into position.
But have you watched those hearings?
I have not.
Your senator, Marsha Blackburn, asked
Point that finger somewhere else, homeboy.
Judge Jackson to define a woman.
Okay.
She asked her, and she said, are you going to make choices on the difference between men and women? And the lady goes, and she goes, well, define a woman.
Yeah, hold on.
And she could not give a definition of a woman. And several people are like, well, you don't need to be on the Supreme Court if you can't define a woman.
What's a woman to you there?
It's going to be interesting. Yeah, but I can tell you, I can say something. I can give you some type of explanation. She gave no explanation whatsoever. And you want to be a Supreme Court justice? No. I'm not on trial here. She is. So
you're always on trial when the cameras are rolling.
So I can't see how any of them would vote for her, man. I really don't. And I figured they're going to try to squeeze Clarence Thomas out, so that leaves him another opening in the Supreme Court that they can shuffle, some kind of. I don't even want to say it.
Well, didn't supposedly Biden have words with Judge Thomas back in the day?
Oh yeah.
I thought
absolutely he did. Absolutely. So, if you go back and look at Biden's been a jackass for years,
haven't we all?
And years and years and years. No, we hadn't always been like that, but he's been a corrupt, lying snake in the grass for years and years. And you can go back and see things that he said, and now all of a sudden, the laptop's surfacing and the information with the laptop. Well, Russia's going to drop a dime on your ass. They don't care, man. Russia, Putin's going to drop a dime on your ass and all the illegal dealings you did with Russia. Now, the guy at Ukraine might not, but the Russian people, since you're giving Ukraine arms and military equipment, the Russian people are going to go, well, yeah, if you're going to help them, we're going to tell you all about it. So, of course, again, they're not going to do anything. Nothing's ever going to happen. Nothing's ever, they'll say, well, he's been indicted. Well, nothing's ever going to happen. Nothing. He'll might come to trial in 2085 or some crap like that. That's just.
They'll have him on the life support machine being wheeled in. Yeah. Like, all right.
Yeah. He'll have a air thing around his nose and ears and stuff in his air tank when he comes in.
Speaking of them, I need an oxygen tank every now and then.
An oxygen tank. Man. Yeah. And so, but they're doing this Clarence Thomas thing and his wife, all about his wife.
Sure.
Because he's an African American. His wife's Caucasian. Been married for years. Yeah. Been married for years and years and years. Okay. So they're picking on him and they're trying to distract you
from
Don't forget the border.
Yeah.
Don't forget your open borders. And don't forget your soldiers and people that they left in Afghanistan that are dying. And don't forget the 2 years they kept you, lied to you about COVID and locked everything down. Don't forget all of that kind of stuff. Don't forget you won't forget $4.50 a gallon gas because you got to buy it every week instead of every 2 weeks now. So not you, but everyone else that goes to the pump.
Your tone here, there, good Betty.
That's okay. Sometimes the truth hurts. And sometimes the truth's expensive. So you can go and send me that sponsorship check.
If you can fucking say sponsorship without sounding like Joe, then they might. Fuck.
Yeah.
That's all, folks.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Hey, Mo.
Yeah.
Somebody help me. Somebody help me.
But hold up. We had gas prices, and we'll hark back on this a little bit, but
no, you didn't.
We got to move on. Yes, we did. 2000 and late.
You didn't even think about it. You didn't even think about it back then. You were pissed off for about a month. And then it went away.
No. I thought about it all the time.
And they're going to keep on going up. Up.
And we're gonna go to Washington, and that's
it's really interesting because some of my Canadian friends that live, I don't know, about 15 clicks around the other side of the coastline.
Have you gotten into the metric system since you're now all kilometers and all that?
No. They sent me a picture of this super yacht that's out there in the ocean sitting there. 2 pictures of it. And they said, I wonder whose boat this is. Of course, there's 19. I didn't respond, but there's 19 people saying, well, it's a Russian oligarch trying to hide down in Ecuador, in the waters of Ecuador, international waters, so that they don't get caught or their ship doesn't get repossessed or something like that.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh well, yeah, because the freaking military is capturing all sorts of stuff from.
It's a big it was a big yacht out there in the water.
Quick question: would you,
about half mile off the shore?
Speaking on large vessels, have you ever thought about living on a cruise ship?
No, but I read the story about the lady that did.
Yeah, did that not pique your interest, in the slightest? That'd be cool as hell.
It would be. Of course, I think driving around, of course, now with gas prices, I think driving around in a Class A RV, that's the flat front one, the big ones, maybe a diesel pusher, driving around and being able to just stop.
$6 a gallon. Hell no.
Just being able to stop. Well, these thoughts were years ago. That, especially being out on the road and traveling like I did, I saw some amazing places because I had lunch in Utah or breakfast in Utah, lunch in Las Vegas, and then dinner in California. So, yeah, I think it'd be cool to drive a RV around and just see the world, see the country. And when you decide to pull over and stop, you're self-contained, pull over and stop, man.
Sounds like
I think that'd be pretty neat.
When I got hungry, I ate. When I had to go, I went,
That's right. That's exactly right.
What in existence that would be?
I think that'd be pretty cool, man. If you wanted to go to the KOA campground and splash around in the pool or use the barbecue grill, you could. Or if you wanted to have your own grill, and you grilled out in the Walmart parking lot, or a truck stop parking lot or something. So I don't know. But I see the truckers are all excited because they got nothing for their convoy.
Yeah, nothing at all. Absolutely nothing.
Nothing.
Well, what would you have expected for them to get from that?
I keep telling you, they just needed to stop. They just needed to stop driving for a day to the vaccine the mask mandates or the vaccine mandates. They're going away anyway. They're going to do those. They're going to do away with those so that people can travel in and out of the country and stuff.
Sure.
And I've still got my fingers crossed that the TSA is going to do away with the mask mandates on the 18th, April the 18th.
Right. Right before you try to fly. There you go.
On the 19th, yes, I fly on the 19th, so maybe. But I'm going to go get my test. I'm going to go get my test, my negative test, and I know it'll be negative. And so, it's not a drug test, so I know it'll be negative. So, if
yeah, exactly. Exactly.
I'm gonna get my test and have all my peppers in order so I can go in there and just roll on through, man.
We'll do it to it, my dude.
Yeah.
So
Pat said that Miami was still as big a cluster as you've ever seen going through customs. She said it's unfreaking believable that they got it, that it's so out of control.
Well, if you had your global entry, it wouldn't be too terrible. So
You're right. You're right, because there's nobody in that line.
Oh, there ain't nobody in that line.
No, diplomats and global entry people just roll right on through.
Diplomatic immunity, right?
Yeah, even the disabled line is still, it's probably got 50 people in it in wheelchairs.
Maybe it's because folks are out there with their canes and their stuff that aren't really disabled, cheating the system a little bit there, bud.
Could be.
So who
could
knows?
Be. Hey, it's not funny to me at all. Is they'll stand in line for an hour and then don't have their paperwork out when they get up to the desk to show the guy the paperwork.
Exactly.
And then they start fumbling and looking for the paperwork.
Yep.
And you had a freaking hour that you were standing there, because I'm the kind of guy that goes, "You get your paperwork out. Hey, everybody, get your passport. Get your passport out. Get it out of your pocket now." Because if you got it out of your pocket and you go up there, the guy looks at it and he looks at you and says, "Take the mask down," so he can see your full face. And then he goes, "Okay, here." And it's like 30 seconds with this guy.
It depends. It really depends. But
it's never been longer than that. It's never been longer than that with Pat or I. And so we just walk right on. We go right on through. But the people that don't have their paperwork out, or there's 15 people with with one person. Yeah, we're going to stand here in the line. Granny's in the wheelchair,
right?
But the other 4 or 5 of us are going to stand there next to her and take up a space in the line, and then won't have our paperwork ready when we get up there.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, that pretty much is right.
She said it took her an hour. It's something where people aren't paying attention, really.
It took an hour. She said it took an hour from the time she hit the line to the time she was released through the Segway there to go on to the other side. So we'll see.
That's what we like to call a first world problem.
Yeah, you'd be O.J. Simpson and over the benches and stuff. Right. That's what I told somebody the other day. I said O.J.'s going to be remembered for the white Bronco.
Yeah,
and jumping the benches in the airport.
There you go.
That's the two things. They won't remember him being with the Buffalo Bills and all the touchdowns he scored.
No. Yeah, the juice. No one will remember the juice.
They're going to remember the white Bronco chase, and they're going to remember him running through the airport, and that's what he'll be remembered for.
Oh yeah!
Holy smoke!
Did you
what did you think about the Will Smith slapping Chris Rock? What do you make of that? I've heard everything. I've heard everything that from it was staged for a publicity stunt all the way to, he really did light his ass up.
I could see it. What I have seen a lot of is this. It's people aren't mad at Will Smith. They're mad at his lady for being a piece of shit. They're not mad at Chris.
Okay.
They're not mad at Will. They're mad at Jada, I believe, for cheating on him, denouncing him, and all of this well before he did the pimp slap, And I'm thinking to myself, like, damn, I thought this was the Me Too era, where like you always kind of went with that side, and they're like, no, fuck that. No, she was awful to him because she cheated on him and, like I said, denounced him and whatnot. And I was like, holy crap.
Well, he brought her to the dance. Must not be that bad. I'm just saying. I mean, I don't know the background of it. I
don't know the background of it either. I do know why he did it in terms of, calling his wife like G.I. Jane, and she had issues with a certain disease or skin deficiency that made her have spotty hair. And it's like, okay, I get it. I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at Chris. I'm not mad at him. I'm not mad at the lady. That was the Oscars. It's not real life. Like, those people don't exist to me,
Who watches it anyway, right?
Nobody. And it's something, too, where it's like, but what'd they do? Something happened that made us talk about it.
Yeah. Right? Yeah, they got everybody jacked up. I've heard all the way from it was staged, where if you look at it closely, he didn't really make contact all the way to, he.
What I care about the Oscars is finally Samuel L. Jackson got an honorary Oscar delivered to him or given to him by Denzel Washington, and that was fucking awesome.
Cool. That's cool.
Super cool, because Mr. Jackson has been going for a very long time in film, and he's done so much work. and he's put in the effort, and it was like you want more of these feel good moments, like
right,
as opposed to the shock and awe. The problem is the shock and awe sells. The feel good like story time of this person worked their ass off and made something of themselves and like made it finally. Nobody gives a fuck about that. And it's what's wrong with our society today,
correct.
Alan Watts, for folks out there who haven't listened to Alan Watts, definitely look him up. He will change your existence. He talks about a good time can be spoiled by wanting to read about it in the newspaper the next day. Like, it's more enjoyable to read about something that happened to you the next day than it is about actually living the experience. Something that absolutely incredible. So yeah, Alan Watts, listen to that dude. And he talks about like, what is reality? What is time? Like, what are all these things? Because we've forgotten what that is. Like, nobody lives for the moment.
Right.
Especially nowadays, because nobody gives a shit about what you're putting out on social media. Like, come on, man. And now granted, I understand that this podcast is that same exact thing. So I ain't mad at you for doing what you do. Because I ain't mad at us for doing what we do. The Life in General podcast is in no way denounce people utilizing social media. But it's something where it's like, live in the moment. Enjoy what you have now.
Right.
And it was something that Sam Harris talked about a lot with meditation. Let us know down below if you ever actually meditated. And this could be in the form of prayer. This could be in the form of meditation, guided meditation, just sitting somewhere with your phone off or turned on silent and sit somewhere for just a couple of minutes and see what happens. See what you think about. It might surprise you.
Right.
So.
You're correct. You are correct.
When's the last time you meditated?
This morning.
Oh.
See, I turned my phone off at night. We had this discussion.
Yeah.
So,
I turn my phone
so
off I can't do anything about anything.
I don't turn it on till 8 or 8:30 or 9 o'clock sometimes. So I go out and sit on the balcony and just sit there. And the sun comes up about 6:45 or 7 o'clock down here. So I just sit there and watch the daylight begin. I watch the guy deliver bread on his motorcycle.
I need
to the restaurant next door. And then if I'm up at like 2 o'clock in the morning sitting out there, the guy brings a newspaper over. I felt for him in a taxi cab and throws a newspaper on the porch of the
there you go.
Restaurant. Yeah. So I sat out there this morning and just sat and didn't really have any particular thoughts, just was watching the world go by. So,
well, there you go.
I do that quite often. Being retired, I don't have to have a purpose.
How exciting that must be.
That's right. That's exactly right. You can get up every day and do whatever you want to do, man. That's right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. But I paid my dues. So there you go.
Ah, I see. Dues must
be
paid.
Don't hate. Yeah. That's right.
So speaking of hating, last thing I wanted to talk about, because we're at the 50-something minute mark, but this is going to be wild. Do you know what a falconer is? Or falconry?
No.
Okay.
Is that the bird that lands on your arm? And
Right. So, folks, actually, that is technically like a job, right? You can make it a hobby if you want to, and do falconry with certain sorts of predatory birds, right? But I saw today online, and I was like, oh man, this shit's awesome. Where they have falcons that, and the falcons and, of course, the trainers, the falconry people, are hired by certain organizations to do certain functions. Now, mostly it's to take care of like pests, and instead of having poisons and stuff, they can actually say, well, look, we're going to bring a falcon, a hawk, a kestrel, whatever kind of animal. Normally they're bigger, they're larger birds a little bit. These places hire them to scare off and to eradicate to a degree. I mean, a lot of it's scaring off pests. And now that can be other birds, that can be insects, rodents, whatever. And they're hired by vineyards, landfills, museums, and even airports to keep certain kinds of birds away from the tarmac and stuff. And I thought to myself, okay, well, I'm in the wrong business, right? I mean, somebody's out there being like, just a show, people having friggin' birds out there, and they're having hawks like chasing around pigeons in cities and stuff, and or chasing around mice and things in museums, and it's like, what? There's actually somebody out there going out there with a bird like a friggin' Pokemon trainer, being like, all right, go do your thing.
I'm sure there is.
It was like such a unique activity. That was like, oh man, super cool, and a very unique experience, and very like just kind of eccentric job, because there are so many things that people do that I mean, you would seem it's more like the day-to-day. They go in, they do their business, and they leave. But like working with animals like that would be something that would be pretty, I think. Pretty eye-opening, and also just a pretty unique experience in general. So I just thought that was super cool. So just having friggin' birds fly around and take care of other birds, or chase them off, or look for rodents and shit like that. So,
whole bunch of birds on the beach down here.
Yeah, but this bird would be the bird that would scare off all those birds.
Right.
Come at them with their talons.
Right. These birds are flying in over the ocean, and then you'll see them dive bomb down into hit the water, and the next thing you know, they're coming back up again. It's pretty.
Go get them little fish. The little fish is just in their little claws. They're just flying around like, oh, where are we going? Are we going on a trip or something?
Yeah, we're going on a ride.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, man. They are. That stuff's wild. So, but pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Here we are.
Yeah, we've almost hit our hour mark. Is there anything else you'd like to talk about there?
I'm good.
I'm surprised you haven't spouted off, everybody go vote, but, we haven't, I guess, gotten that far into the show yet. So,
well, they're don't forget about the midterms in November. That's all I can tell you. Vote them out.
They're coming.
Vote them out. Vote them out, man. It should be a slaughter. I don't even know if Sleepy Ass Joe will make it that long, or Swallow Me Harris will take over, what they'll do. So, be interesting to see.
I was going to say that would be a very interesting experience to have her take over at this point in time. Because a lot of it would be like, oh, first lady president and all this, and then it would be something where like it would seem as though it would be tarnished to a degree where it wasn't like, oh, this person was elected and they air quotes made it. It was more so like, okay, you're there now what? So,
well, if they get enough dirt on Joe with the Hunter Biden shit, they might very well impeach him. You never know. They might pull the 25th Amendment on him and or say he's not fit, or they might impeach him, and you might be stuck with. Hopefully not, because she's an idiot, man. I sent you that link saying that Newt Gingrich said she is the dumbest vice president ever to be elected. Oh, and when you asked me last time, you said name 5 vice presidents.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, the next day I was telling Pat about the show, and I said name all 5 vice presidents, and she went bang, 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 and I mean, all these vice presidents. LBJ, when Kennedy got killed, LBJ, and then Joe, and then she went bang, 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 5, and it's like, man, I struggled to get 3. So,
well, it's all good.
I don't know. Yep,
definitely something pretty interesting. Try to keep you on your toes a little bit, but
Yeah, I looked up a list of vice presidents. And
there you go. Not going to fall for that trap ever again.
Yeah, the list starts off with like Grover Cleveland or something,
Right.
And I was like, holy smoke, man, are you kidding?
Well, so, what can you do?
Yeah, exactly. What can you do? So
awesome. Well, there you go. If you have anything else to talk about, then we're gonna peace out here. Thank you all so much for watching the Life in General podcast here with Tom and Jay. This has been episode 46, and we will thank you all so very much for watching, and we will catch you all in the next episode.
See you.